The first time I realized my life would never be the same, I didn't see it coming. I was sitting in my room, scrolling lazily through my phone, when she appeared. My sister, Isabella, with that smile that always made me both love and fear her. She didn't say anything at first, just stood there watching me, her eyes glinting like she already knew a secret I hadn't even discovered yet. "You know," she said casually, "you'd look amazing if you let me help you." I laughed nervously. "Help me with what?" Her smile widened, mischievous and impossibly confident. "Be me." I thought she was joking. I thought she couldn't possibly mean it. But the way she looked at me, the way her fingers brushed a strand of hair from her face, the quiet authority in her voice, it all told me that this wasn't a joke. She meant it. And in that moment, a shiver ran down my spine. Isabella had always been the prettier one, the one who turned heads without even trying, the one whose confidence seemed effortless. I had spent years watching her move through the world like she owned it, while I stayed in the shadows, unnoticed. But now, she wanted me to step into her world. Not just mimic her style, not just borrow her clothes, but become her. I tried to protest. "You're insane," I said, though my voice trembled. "I can't." "You can," she interrupted softly, almost teasingly. "And I'll make sure you do it perfectly." Before I could respond, she had already pulled a small case from her bag. Inside were items I had never dared touch, dresses tailored to fit her body perfectly, delicate jewelry, shoes with impossibly high heels, and makeup that shimmered like it was made for someone else's face. She laid everything out methodically, as if preparing for a ceremony, and my stomach twisted. "This is your new life, starting now," she said, her tone both commanding and intimate. "I want you to be my twin. Perfectly. Completely. No excuses." I froze. A rush of fear and exhilaration hit me all at once. My heart raced, my palms went clammy, and yet, I felt a strange thrill I had never felt before. The idea of stepping into her skin, of becoming her reflection in the mirror, it was terrifying. But it was also intoxicating. She didn't give me a choice. Her fingers grazed my cheek, guiding me toward the mirror. "Look at yourself," she whispered. "See what I see. We're going to make you flawless. You'll be me only a little more obedient." As I stared at my own reflection, a part of me wanted to run. A part of me wanted to scream. But another part, a hidden, secret part one had never dared to acknowledge, stirred awake. This was more than just dress up. This was transformation. This was becoming someone else entirely. And in that moment, I understood the terrifying truth. My sister wasn't just changing my look. She was changing my life. Forever. The first steps of the transformation were surreal. Isabella guided me like a sculptor with clay, her hands adjusting, smoothing, and reshaping me into an almost unrecognizable version of myself. She didn't just hand me clothes, she handed me a new identity. "Stand still," she commanded, lifting a delicate blouse over my shoulders. The fabric was soft, silkier than anything I had ever worn, hugging my arms in a way that made me hyper-aware of every movement. My chest tightened, not just from the blouse, but from the awareness that she was watching, evaluating, shaping me. Every flick of her wrist, every adjustment of the fabric, sent shivers down my spine. I could feel my heart hammering as she held up a mirror. "Look," she whispered. "See what you're becoming." The reflection that stared back was both me and not me. The jawline I had known was softened, the eyes highlighted and widened with subtle makeup, the lips painted with a color that made them look plump and full. My hair framed my face in soft waves, falling past my shoulders in a way I had never imagined for myself. I tried to speak, to protest, but my voice caught. I felt trapped between the fear of losing myself and the strange thrill of finally seeing this version of me, a version Isabella wanted. Every instinct told me to step back, to escape. But I couldn't move. The excitement coursing through me was too intense, too intoxicating to resist. She guided me next to the shoes, heels so high I could barely balance. "You'll walk like me. Perfect posture, perfect steps," she said. She placed them on my feet with a precision that was almost surgical. The moment I stood up, wobbly and unsteady, I felt every inch of the transformation. My body shifted, my posture changed, and for the first time, I realized the power in walking, speaking, and moving like her. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time seemed distorted. Every adjustment she made, every brush of makeup, every tweak to my hair, was another layer of control. I could feel the old me slipping away, replaced by the image she had in her mind. I wasn't just dressing up anymore. I was becoming her, down to the smallest details. But with that transformation came the anxiety. Every glance toward the mirror, every small movement, reminded me how fragile my secret was. What if someone else saw? What if I couldn't live up to her vision? Fear clawed at me, twisting my stomach into knots. And yet, alongside that fear, there was an undeniable thrill. The way my body looked, the way I moved, the way the new version of me seemed to command attention, even when alone, was intoxicating. "You're ready for the final touch," Isabella said, her voice low and commanding. She handed me a delicate wig, darker than my natural hair, glossy and smooth. I ran my fingers through it, feeling its weight, its unfamiliar texture. As she helped me put it on, she whispered, "This is it. No turning back." I caught my reflection again. The girl looking back was beautiful, confident, and perfect in a way that made my chest tighten. Every feature matched Isabella's standards, every line, every curve. I was no longer just me. I was her vision, her perfect twin. And then came the moment of truth. She stepped back, arms crossed, eyes scanning me from head to toe. "Do you understand what this means?" she asked, her tone a mix of teasing and seriousness. "Once you step into this fully, there's no going back. You're not just wearing a look, you are me, in every way that matters." My heart raced, a storm of fear, exhilaration, and anticipation swirling inside me. Could I really live like this? Could I accept being molded so completely? The thrill of it called to a hidden part of me, a part one had kept buried for years. And yet, the weight of the permanent transformation pressed down, making me feel small, fragile, and utterly exposed. I'll do it," I whispered, almost to myself. But Isabella's smile told me she already knew the answer. She had always known. The room felt charged with possibility and danger. Every glance, every movement, every subtle shift reminded me, my life was changing. Not gradually, not temporarily. Forever. And in that charged silence, I realized the truth. I had surrendered control. I had stepped into her vision. And whether I liked it or not, my life would never be the same again. The room around me felt charged, every shadow thick with anticipation. I could feel the weight of Isabella's gaze, not just on me, but through me, assessing, measuring, claiming. The mirror reflected more than my face. It reflected the impossible, the transformation that had been creeping forward for weeks, now impossible to ignore. I wasn't just dressed like her anymore. I was her in every detail that mattered, and it terrified me. She circled me slowly, her hands never resting for more than a second. Every brush of fabric against my skin, every adjustment of the wig, every tilt of the heels was deliberate, precise, perfect. My movements became conscious of the curves of my body, the sway of the skirt, the delicate arch of my hands. The girl in the mirror stared back at me, alive, confident, untouchable, and part of me still wanted to escape, to rip off the clothes, to vanish into the safety of my old self. But the pull of the transformation was too strong. Every moment Isabella guided me, every correction, every small nudge toward perfection, made me feel alive in a way I had never felt before. My pulse raced, my chest tightened, and my lips trembled with excitement and fear. I was trapped in a thrilling tension between control and surrender. Then it happened. A knock at the door, soft, hesitant but deliberate, made my heart leap into my throat. Not Isabella. Someone else. Someone who could shatter everything I had built. My legs trembled under the heels. My hands shook as I brushed a strand of hair behind my ear, praying they wouldn't see the truth. My reflection smirked, almost mocking me, daring me to face it. Isabella's eyes flicked toward the sound, sharp and calculating. "Ignore it," she whispered, but the firmness in her tone made it clear, I wouldn't get away this time. I felt the reality of exposure tighten around me like chains. Every instinct screamed to hide, to step back, to erase the evidence of what I had become. The knock came again. Closer this time. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I could feel the adrenaline pumping, mixing with the strange exhilaration of being so close to discovery. My reflection in the mirror stared unflinchingly at me, a silent challenge: embrace it or falter. I tried to steady myself, lifting my chin, adjusting the dress one last time. The heels clicked sharply against the floor, each step announcing me, daring the visitor to look closer. My hands trembled as I brushed invisible dust from the hem of the skirt, trying to appear composed, trying to appear normal. But nothing about me was normal anymore. The door opened slowly. My stomach dropped. The figure standing there froze, eyes wide, mouth slightly parted. Recognition, shock, awe, all flickered across their face in an instant. And in that moment, I realized the terrifying, exhilarating truth: I could no longer hide. Not from them, not from myself. Is that really you?" the voice asked, trembling with disbelief. Every word made my heart race, every pause stretched longer than eternity. I wanted to nod, to explain, to deny, but no words came. How could I explain the months of transformation, the hours of meticulous perfection, the surrender I had given to her vision? Isabella stepped closer, a faint smile playing on her lips, her presence grounding me and yet intensifying the danger. "Yes," she said softly. "It's him, or her, or both. And now, there's no turning back." The visitor's eyes darted between us, searching for clues, trying to understand, and in that scrutiny, I felt the full weight of exposure. Every part of me, the dress, the wig, the makeup, the stance, the voice that had shifted ever so slightly, was laid bare. I was exposed, vulnerable, yet alive in a way that terrified and thrilled me simultaneously. A sudden stumble, a misstep on the heels, made my pulse spike. I reached out instinctively, hands brushing against the edge of a surface. My reflection wavered, flickered, teasing me with the duality I now inhabited. I was no longer just a brother or a sister, just me or her. I was a merging of identities, unstoppable, irrevocable, and entirely visible to the world. The visitor took a cautious step forward, voice trembling. I don't even know what to say." I swallowed hard, fighting the panic and the exhilaration. Every nerve in my body was alight. I wanted to scream, to run, to laugh, to collapse, simultaneously. Isabella's eyes met mine, calm and assured, and in that glance, I understood the finality: I was hers. Her perfect twin. And there was no undoing it. Time seemed to stretch, a long, suspended moment of impossibility. Every heartbeat, every flicker of movement, every click of the heels was magnified. My reflection smiled with a confidence that was almost frightening. I was caught, exposed, transformed, yet I had never felt more alive. And then, the world seemed to hold its breath. The visitor's gaze lingered, uncertain, hesitant, and the tension, thick, suffocating, thrilling, reached its peak. I was revealed, undeniable, irrevocably changed. And in that heartbeat suspended between fear and exhilaration, I realized the truth. My life as I had known it was over. I was no longer just me. I was her, perfectly, completely, forever. The air hung thick with tension, heavy and almost electric. Every detail of me, the dress, the heels, the makeup, the wig, felt amplified under the gaze of the visitor. I could feel the weight of every second pressing down, like the world itself was holding its breath. The reflection in the mirror stared back, calm, confident, unafraid, while inside me a storm raged. Fear, exhilaration, and disbelief tangled together in a pulse that felt like it could shatter my chest. Isabella's presence loomed behind me, steady, commanding, and somehow reassuring. Her hand rested lightly on my shoulder, an unspoken reminder that I was no longer alone in this transformation. I was hers, entirely, and fully molded into the twin she had always envisioned. My pulse raced. Could I even recognize myself anymore? The visitor's gaze flicked between us, uncertain, cautious, searching for answers in the silence. They opened their mouth, hesitated, then closed it again. The pause was unbearable. My hands shook slightly as I brushed the skirt down, the fabric soft and alien beneath my fingers. I wanted to speak, to explain, to apologize, but no words could bridge the gap between who I had been and who I had become. A distant sound, perhaps from the building, perhaps from the streets outside, made me jump. The world felt impossibly wide and impossibly close at once. I could feel every heartbeat echoing through my body. My reflection's eyes seemed to shimmer knowingly, almost mockingly, daring me to admit it. There was no turning back. I was hers. Perfect. Complete. Exposed. The visitor finally found their voice, trembling. I don't even know how to react. Isabella stepped forward, her tone both teasing and final. You'll get used to it, she said softly, almost a promise. He or she can never go back now. You've seen it, experienced it, and there's no undoing it. A shiver ran through me. She was right. I could feel the permanence in every line of the dress, every step of the heels, every curve emphasized by the subtle, perfect makeup. I wasn't just pretending anymore. I had been transformed entirely, mind, body, and soul. The old me was gone, dissolved under the weight of her meticulous design. Then came a sudden movement, something shifting outside the room. My pulse spiked, every muscle tensing. Was it another visitor? A neighbor? Someone who could unravel everything I had become? My reflection in the mirror seemed to lean forward, daring me to face whatever was coming. I swallowed hard. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to retreat. I was fully, irrevocably exposed. Isabella's eyes met mine again, calm and certain. Remember this, she whispered. From now on, there's no going back. And you'll have to live with it. The visitor's expression flickered between shock and awe. I could see the questions forming, the judgments, the disbelief. But before they could speak, another sound, closer this time, made me freeze. The world seemed to tilt. Every instinct screamed danger. My reflection's smirk widened, almost as if mocking my fear, daring me to embrace the reality I had been thrust into. I stood there, trembling, heart pounding, heels clicking against the floor with every micromovement. The reflection smiled, unwavering, fearless. And in that smile, I felt the terrifying truth solidify. My life had been rewritten. I was no longer just me. I was her. Completely. Forever. And just as the tension reached a breaking point, the scene froze. The visitor paused mid-step, Isabella's hand hovered over my shoulder, and my reflection stared straight back at me, challenging me to acknowledge the irreversible transformation. The story was far from over. Questions lingered unspoken. Would Isabella push me further? Would the visitor expose me? Could I survive this new identity, fully molded into my sister's perfect twin? One thing was certain, my old life was gone. The new me had arrived.